I can't help but note the irony that I'm the D.C. insider running against someone who's been in Washington 36 years. That's not a message, frankly, that's being sold very well here in Indiana. But to the point, am I reflecting some special interest group around the country? Yeah, I probably am, and they're called conservatives.
Well, that was Indiana Senate challenger Richard Murdoch with me 1 week ago. Let's bring back our panel. Shira Toeplitz, Casey Hunt, Faz Shakir. Shira, you were just out in Indiana. Is Dick Lugar losing because he's not conservative enough, or is Dick Lugar losing because he doesn't have a residence in the state of Indiana?
I think it's more the latter. I think I've talked to a lot of operatives about, was this race savable? Could Dick Lugar have salvaged for himself his campaign for 7th term? And they say the turning point, without a doubt, were these residency issues. And not just, oh, maybe he moved out to Virginia 6 years ago. The fact that he was still using an address that he sold sometime for a house he sold sometime in the 70s. That's how bad it was. And that was really the point of no return.
You know, Casey, and I'm going to read you a list of senators that were in the United States Senate in 2008. Okay, that will not be there in 2013. Republican side only: Lugar, John Warner, Arlen Specter, Judd Gregg, Bob Bennett, Olympia Snowe, Kay Bailey Hutchison, Gordon Smith, George Voinovich, Chuck Hagel. The Democratic side: Bob Byrd, Kennedy, Biden, Dodd, Lincoln, Nelson, Clinton, Obama. It's interesting when people talk about the big, you know, the grandiosity of the Senate, these people that would do the big things, work with the other side. Boy, that's a lot of Senate power gone.
It's most of the gang of X.
Yeah, right. I mean, look at the Republican side. This gang of 10. Yeah. You know, those are anybody that was ever on a bipartisan piece of legislation. The Republican side of the aisle, it was one of those 10 names.
And I think that's part of why you're seeing so much frustration in the American electorate right now. I mean, there's a reason why Congress isn't working the way even that it has in the past, despite the fact that there's always been gridlock. I mean, it's changed really dramatically even in the last 5 years.
You know, Faz, and it's interesting. You know, you've always heard there was debate among some Democrats during the John Roberts hearings about whether to support Roberts or not, right? Because he had some Democrats that were, and some supported him because they believed in this notion that you do that. Well, you know, one of the things that hurt Lugar is that when he went ahead and supported the president's, the Democratic president's picks for the Supreme Court. Are we now going to see the United States Senate just always now vote party lines on this stuff?
There's a purification on the right going on, and I think part of it has to do with the money. The money that is incentivizing, whether it's Club for Growth or Freedom Works, incentivizing the fact that you're rewarding people who are opposing Obama or opposing progress.
It rewards opposition.
It rewards opposition, standing up against something. And so I think.
But are you fearing that should this be the way that, I mean, you know, Democrats have been hit hard. I remember Obama. The word is he always wished he could have had that Roberts vote back.
I don't see the same kind of trend on the left.
We're not seeing it as much.
Yeah, and I don't believe it will actually occur. On the right, there is that incentive. I think if I were Romney, I would be very concerned about this, because in the very unlikely event he is a president, like, how do you deal with people whose whole argument for being in office was that they are warriors against you, against the cause?
Casey, I want to ask you, watching Romney yesterday, the question, and deal with this questioner who made this treason comment. We'll let her decide whether we'll let others decide was it a joke, it doesn't matter. His refusal to deal with it struck me as that this guy's just not a nimble candidate yet. Like, he didn't realize that was not a moment he should have just grabbed hold of things and said, hey, I have to woo swing voters who don't like that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to remember, Romney is a particularly cautious candidate. You know, he spends a lot of time, and his campaign spends a lot of time, making sure that the situations that he's in are pretty predictable. And so when you get these unpredictable moments at these town halls, which happen from time to time, a lot of times he'll just gloss over it.
He's not nimble at it at all, is he?
Right. Well, and he did, on the rope line after the event, decide to clarify. So it's almost as though he took some time to think about it.
Right, but it's sort of there. You just get the sense that there are other candidates, Shira, that just would have just grabbed that moment and just not let it define them.
Well, John McCain famously handled a similar situation 4 years ago, and he was good, and I think John McCain had the confidence to pivot at that, and Romney is not.
Shameless plug. Shira, go.
Roll call's coverage of Senator Dick Lugar's almost imminent loss at this point. Check it out at our website. Check it out tonight and tomorrow. There's more stuff.
Voters are still voting. I know, we're all doing this. I've done it too, but, you know, he could still win.
He could.
By the way, it would be a Dewey defeats Truman moment for all of us in the political press corps. Casey, go.
Pulitzer Prize-winning reporters Matt Apuzzo and Adam Goldman broke the story yesterday of the bomb in Yemen.
Matt Apuzzo, another Daily Rundown favorite.
I don't do it enough, but I just want to plug and thank my team of 25 at Think Progress, and they work very hard and fairly anonymously, so I thank them for
what they do. Having a pretty influential year, that's for sure. Faz, Casey, Shira, that's it for this edition of the Daily Rundown. Tomorrow on the show, if it's Wednesday, that means we have results, analysis, today's primaries. You never want to miss a Wednesday Daily Rundown. Coming up next on MSNBC, Chris Jansing. Bye-bye.